Assalamu alaikum. Continuing on with excerpts from my small publication about the subject of Tawheed, the most important subject in Islam. I will begin with a hadith that refers to the practice of praying at graves. This is an ongoing problem since the beginning of time. We have it recorded as Muslims starting at the time of Nuh. However, I'm beginning with a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, which says, "The curse of Allah is upon Christians and Jews who pray at the graves of their prophets. Some ignorant Muslims go far astray in claiming that the Prophet Muhammad had vast knowledge of the unseen, in direct opposition of what is clearly stated in the Quran. In Surah Al-An'am, verse 59, He alone has the key to the unseen. No one knows it except Him. In Surah Luqman, verse 34, and He knows what is in the wombs, and no one knows what he will earn tomorrow, and no one knows in which land he will die. Truly Allah is all-knowing and all-aware." In Surah Al-Araf, verse 70, "We came to worship Allah alone and leave what our fathers worshipped." Now, in these passages, the third person, the first person, this is an academic issue. Why they are used in regards to Allah, it's not our topic here. It is Allah exclusively who deserves all of our reverence. For instance, when we take an oath or we swear to anything, it must be to Allah. The Prophet said, whoever swears on anything other than Allah has committed the sin of shirk. Shirk is associating power to anyone or anything other than Allah. The Prophet said, whoever swears on anything other than Allah has committed shirk. It's forbidden to say, oh, I swear on my child, I swear on my mother's grave, etc., which everyone does. The Prophet said, when you ask Allah. When you call for help, call to Allah. The Quran says in the chapter Al-Imran, verse 175, "Fear me if you are believers." The me here is referring to Allah. Also in Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 23, "On Allah put your trust if you are believers." And also, Surah Yusuf, verse 106, "Don't call on anyone but Allah. They cannot help you or hurt you. If you do such, then you are of the oppressors." You're oppressing yourself with the illusion that there's a power other than Allah. Nothing or no one can help you other than Allah, in this world nor in the hereafter. Again, Quran tells us in Surah Yunus, verse 107, "If evil befalls you, no one can remove it except Allah. And if He gives you blessings of the good things, no one can take them away." You know, there's so much fear in the Middle East still, and they used to say in the old days that someone can actually cause you to die or get sick. You know, they call this the evil eye, and this is just such a misinterpretation of so much that's in the Quran, but that's not our topic now. I think I should do a lesson on it one time. Let's get back to this. Very straightforward. Quran, nothing like it. Nothing compares to it. Stick with it. Those who call on other than Allah, that which cannot answer them till the day of resurrection, and they are heedless of their call. You know, when I was young, my mom would get upset and she'd say, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and all the saints in heaven, help me. You know, with her 5 sons, it was not an easy job. But I used to say to myself as a child, why doesn't she just call on one? I knew that Allah was real, but I didn't know his name, ever since I can remember. When they are gathered on that day, they will be their enemies, and they will deny worshiping them. This is Surah Al-Ahqaf, verse 5 and 6, referring to us on Judgment Day. Allah will say, what did you worship? He already knows, but everyone's going to be hearing and watching and knowing. And then those partners you associated power to will say, no. I didn't tell them to do this. They were inspired by Satan. Then in Surah Naml, verse 62, who answers the distressed one when he calls upon him, and removes the evil and makes you successors on the earth? Is there a God with a law? Little it is that you mind. In Surah Nisa, verse 48, in the Quran, Allah tells us, Allah does not forgive association of partners to others than him, but he forgives other sins of those he wishes. Whoever associates power to other than Allah has committed a grievous sin. Also, in Surah Al-Hajj, verse 73, the futility of this practice of shirk is explained thusly. O people, an example has been set to, so listen carefully to it. Those on whom you call, besides Allah, can never even create a fly, even if they join together to do it. And if the fly snatched something, they would never retrieve it from the fly. Weak are the seeker and the sought. Regarding the belief of Christians, the Quran is clear. O Jesus, son of Mary, did you say to the people, take me and my mother as objects of worship without Allah? Jesus said, praise Allah. It's not that I would say that which is not right. And this is in Surah Ma'idah, verse 116. Notice how Jesus separates himself from those who worship him by saying, I never told them anything except that which you ordered me to tell them, to worship Allah, my God and your God. Jesus was sent by Allah as a prophet and a messenger. If a prophet cannot prevent harm, how then can it be that anyone else can? Allah says in Quran, in Surah Al-Imran, verse 79 and 80, I don't order you to take angels and prophets as gods. Would I order you to disbelief after you are Muslim? And in Surah Nur, verse 63, and warn those who go against my orders, lest a trial befall them, or they will be set by a painful punishment. They take their priests and monks for lords, and Jesus, son of Mary. And they were not ordered to worship anyone other than Allah alone. It seems this is redundant, but if you think about how many times Allah stresses, and this is only part of it, and how much shirk there is in the world, and has been since the beginning of recorded history. People are building statues, they're building temples, they're doing all sorts of what we would call magic or some sort of abominations, because they're trying to get help from other powers other than Allah. I'll continue. There is no God but Him. He is above those who associate partners with Him. And this is Surah Tawbah, verse 31. Those who associate power to anything or anyone other than Allah will not enter paradise, and they will go to the hellfire. The oppressors will not be victorious. Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 72. There is no need for any mediation when one seeks Allah. Allah tells us in Quran, in Surah Kahf, verse 16, we are closer to Him than His jugular vein. And in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 186, if my servant seeks me, I am near. I answer the request of those who call on me. And in Surah Ghafir, verse 60, call on me, I will answer you. As for those who are too proud to worship me, they will enter the hellfire. Neither Allah nor any of His prophets, including Muhammad, asked for the worshiper to call on others besides Allah. There is a widespread faulty practice which continues to our day of supplication at the graves of our lost loved ones. Do we really think that they can hear us? And why do we plead to them? No, only Allah hears. Surah Al-Fatir, verse 22. Neither are the living and the dead alike. Surely Allah makes whom He pleases hear, and you cannot make those who are in the graves hear. Once we die, all our works and their effects are finished. There are, however, exceptions by which we can attain benefits. 1, ongoing charity. For instance, establishment of an orphanage. 2, a believing, upright child who can ask Allah's mercy on our soul. And 3, the continued blessing for any useful knowledge imparted to the ignorant in our lives. From this we can clearly understand there is no use in trying to contact the deceased in any way, shape, or form. It is only through direct contact with Allah that we may hope to gain help. Do you see those whom you call on besides Allah for help? If Allah decided to afflict me with harm, who can remove His harm? Or if He desired to show mercy, could they withhold His mercy? Say, Allah is sufficient for me, and on Him do the reliant rely. Say, no one can protect me against Allah, nor can I find any refuge beside Him. Finally, I ask Allah to guide the hearts of all who read this short explanation. In Islam, there is freedom, justice, and peace. Finally, in Surah Al-Mulk, verse 2, Allah created death and life, that He might test which of you is best in deeds, and He is mighty and forgiving. That concludes that section of Tawheed. My next lesson will be on destiny or fate, called in Arabic Qadar. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.